Hi, Jane. Thank you so much for having me here today. And I see some familiar faces. And I see April's on there and Bob DeFio's on there. And I'm only looking at page one. So I'm sure there's some other people here I recognize too, since I've been at your actual ScubaCon in the past. So, and I also want to tell you, Jane, I think you did a wonderful job pronouncing the boat names, because a lot of times people have a hard time with those. So where the boat names come from is Dora Sandoval, who's our owner, and her daughter's name is Rocio. And so that's where Rocio del Mar, Rocio of the sea, comes from. And then when she got the second boat, she named it after her grandson, Joaquin, and they call him Quino. And Quino El Guardian is the name of the second boat. So what I have for you today, I put together a little presentation because our boats, we are melding both boats under the name Mexico Liveaboards because we are in Mexico and we're liveaboards in Mexico. And so I have a presentation for you today, and I have 3 little videos to show you as well. So I'm hoping that this goes pretty smoothly. But so first off, I want to tell you about, and also, hey, I just want to mention this as well, is that if you wanted, let me see here, if I can still see some people. Okay, that's all right. Right now, all I can see is my screen that I'm showing. Hopefully you can see that I'm sharing my screen. And so I wanted to explain to you about Socorro and the Sea of Cortez. And as you know, right now in Mexico, it's easy to get to Mexico, and it is perfectly fine and you're capable of getting to Mexico. In fact, I was just on a trip a couple of weeks ago to the Sea of Cortez for our annual all-ladies trip. And so our boats are going, our Rocio del Mar is out there right now in the Sea of Cortez. So again, so we go to Mexico Liveaboards and we go to Socorro and the Sea of Cortez. And what I want to do is highlight what our itineraries are. And this shows a map right now of where our boats go. And in Socorro, we go November through the end of May. And those trips are 10 days, 9 nights long, and 6 days of diving. And Socorro is 250 miles off the coast of San Jose del Cabo. And then in the summertime, in July through mid-September, and that's what we're finishing up this season right now, we are in the Sea of Cortez, and we do the Midriff Islands, which is up in this area right here. And actually, you leave out of Puerto Penasco, you fly to Phoenix. And then 3 times a year, we're just about to start this season, the Explore Baja Expedition season, where you actually start at one end of the Sea of Cortez and you end at the other. But first, we're going to focus on Socorro because it's going to be Socorro season here soon, and we're all excited about it. And in fact, for some of you know, we're hoping to hear by this Friday about Socorro, the park being open. And we feel very confident that it will be open. We've been meeting with the park people, and they're just crossing their T's and dotting their I's. So we hope to hear by the end of this week. So Socorro is actually the Archipelago de Revillagigedos, and my apologies to any people who are out there who can speak Spanish and roll an R. I can't roll an R for anything. And when we go to Socorro, we actually visit 3 of the 4 islands. We visit Socorro, and we visit Roca Partida and San Benedicto. There's the 4th island, Clarion, but that's a bit further out there. So we do have a couple of special trips that we do and that do involve going to Clarion, but that's almost another 16 hours out at sea. So the biggest thing that everybody goes to Socorro for is to see the giant mantas. And the mantas are just spectacular. They will actually come up to you. You can look them eye in the eye. And I almost wonder who's checking out who? Are we there to check out them, or are they there to check out us? In fact, I would think they're probably pretty bored out there right now waiting for us all to come back. They'll actually come down and they will look at you, and then they'll go to the next diver and look at them, and go to the next diver and look at them. It's just breathtaking. Socorro is also known for its 7 different species of sharks. We've got white tips, silver tips, black tips, Galapagos, schooling hammerhead sharks, silky sharks, and tiger sharks. And these white tip sharks are they just This is a picture here of Roca Partida, where they'll be nestled inside of the crevices. And the silky sharks that you'll see on almost every dive that come up and go, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? And then we do have the hammerhead sharks. But again, the biggest name to fame are the giant manta rays. This is a very cool picture, and this is a real picture. This is not something that is false. This was the playful bottlenose dolphins and a whale shark and a manta all in the same shot. The dolphins are so much fun. They will come up to divers and they almost get indignant if you don't pet them. They'll come right up to you. Pardon me on that one. Okay, and so the animals with the season, when we're there the whole time from November through the end of May, we will see the giant manta rays, playful dolphins, all the different types of sharks, and the schooling wahoo and tuna, and and jacks. Yes, thank you very much. So the animals with a season would be, in November and December and May will be a time when you're more likely to see the whale sharks. And November especially is the month where you're more likely to see the big school bus size pregnant female whale sharks. And then the months of mid-February to mid-April are when you're more likely to see humpback whales. Now I'll say humpback whales are pretty common to see during that time on the surface, but as Dora likes to say, to see them underwater is a gift, but that does happen. So what I would like to do now is, hopefully with my good luck, I want to show you a video about Socorro.
Wow.
Now, if that doesn't make you want to go to Socorro, I don't know what could.
Sign me up, Susan. Let's go.
Actually, I'm really excited because I get to go in November, the day after Thanksgiving. I haven't been there for a few years, so I'm super excited. So next, let's talk about the Sea of Cortez. This is it's a favorite destination of mine long before I ever worked with Rocio, Del Mar, and Quino, Gaurdian, and long before I ever met Dora. I was a big fan of going to the Sea of Cortez because it's so easy to get there. Because all you need to do is fly to Phoenix. I mean, you guys can fly to Phoenix every day of the week, and you just fly to Phoenix, and then you take a shuttle. There's air-conditioned big passenger shuttle vans, and they'll take you right across the border and right to the boat. It takes about 4 hours. So it's almost as remote as if you flew to the other end of the earth, because you'll hardly see anybody else out there the whole time. The Sea of Cortez, it's a macro photographer's dream, and there's all different kinds of nudibranchs. This is just a few of the ones that you'll see. We have jawfish and blennies and the nuptial males dancing on the bottom of the ocean, looking and prancing and looking for their women. We have giant jawfish, and you'll get to see them sometimes you'll even get lucky enough to see them with the eggs, but they're very common to see, and beautiful, beautiful fish and reefs, and just abounding in marine life. I got to see this last time some of the biggest turtles I've ever seen. They're a little on the shyer side, but once they noticed that you were there, but I got to sneak up on a couple, which was very cool. And the water's beautiful in the islands. So we see turtles and octopus, so many eels, rays, and the highlight of the trip is always stopping in Bahia de Los Angeles and snorkeling with whale sharks. This last time when we went in part of the bay, and there I was diving, snorkeling with at least 2. There was another one coming, and it's just spectacular. And the best thing about that, it's a natural experience. I know it's very popular in the Philippines to go see the whale sharks, and you get to see the big whale sharks, but they're feeding them. Here, they're coming into the bay, and they're just naturally feeding. Sometimes when you get in the water with them, they'll swim right off. Other times, they couldn't give a hoot that you're there. And they'll just keep munching away, and you just got to stay out of the way, because there's only 3 rules about snorkeling with whale sharks. Don't touch the whale shark, don't touch the whale shark, don't touch the whale shark. Lots of cool things to see on the surface too. In this last trip, we got to follow 2 huge fin whales around for an hour and a half. Lots of dolphins, pods of dolphins as far as the eyes can see. We have jumping mobile arrays. We have orange-footed boobies. We have blue-footed boobies. And this is actually a picture of me from the last trip, because it's just such a highlight. At least 2 solid days of just diving around and diving with the sea lions, and it is just amazing, amazing. I even got my fin nibbled on this time. It was just fantastic. So I'm going to show you a video about the Sea of Cortez and what it's like to dive there. Okay, so that was the
Beautiful,
Sea of
Susan.
Cortez. Now, I just wanted to say, if you have any questions that you want to interject with, that's totally fine.
I do have some questions from people, Susan. The first one and the one I've received the most this evening is water temps. Can you kind of go through Socorro versus Sea of Cortez and the different water temps that people can experience there?
Sure. Socorro, November and December, you're going to be right about 80 degrees. And then it's going to start to drop off and go as low as 75 in January, February, and March, and then start going up again towards 80 in April and May.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then Sea of Cortez, we've got.
For the Sea of Cortez, when we start in July, it's going to be probably around 75. It could be a little bit cooler. Sea of Cortez has got some really unique vertical thermoclines that you can hit. But for the first couple of weeks in July, it could get down into, you could have a dive in the lower 70s. But then it starts to warm up very rapidly. And when I was just there August 16th through the 23rd, we had high 70s, low 80s. Actually, we got up to the mid 80s, or actually the high 80s. So it was quite warm. For most people in the Sea of Cortez, a 3 millimeter works well. And if you wanted to, you could bring a hooded vest, just because remember you're doing 4 dives a day. And especially in the Sea of Cortez, those are all hour-long dives. We down there, because we're not diving overly deep at all, anywhere from usually 40 to 60. Some we do get a little deeper on some of the amazing walls. But that's, so does that answer your question?
It's perfect.
Perfect.
I had someone asking about experience levels as well as minimum age. Is there a minimum age requirement to dive in either destination? And do you need advanced or anything like that?
We only require an open water certification. I mean, we believe that divers, you're responsible for you. And also all of our dives are led by dive masters. And so there's no diving off on your own. But we just require an open water certification. If you want to dive nitrox, of course, we require nitrox certification. But we'd say 10 years old. In fact, it would be a minimum. There's kids you get the kids that are very young for their age and kids that are very mature for their age. But we'd probably say about 10 years old would be the youngest, because they just need to have a wherewithal about being on a boat.
So I have someone asking, they're wanting to see whale sharks. Is there a particular time in Socorro or Sea of Cortez that's best to try and see those?
I would say, now in Socorro, the months of November, December, and May, you're more likely to see whale sharks. It's not a guarantee at all. If seeing the whale sharks is on your bucket list and that's what you want to do, I highly recommend the Sea of Cortez, either a mid-drift island trips or explore Baja, because we stop over at Bahia de Los Angeles and that's where we snorkel with them. And the reason we snorkel there is because it's in a shallow bay where they come in to feed. And we actually use the community, the boats from the community, and 4 snorkelers can go in the water. And that way you can just jump in the water, we'll spot a whale shark, and you jump in the water, and if they swim off, it's no problem. You just get back in the boat and we do it all again. And we do it until you say uncle.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I would say if that's really, really important to you, I definitely do that. Definitely do that.
Perfect. Someone was asking about the Humboldt squid, or the squid that were in the video there. Is that just a night dive?
We actually have not seen Humboldt squid there. We're working on putting together something a little bit more current, because the Humboldt squid, we haven't really seen any for the last couple of years. Okay. And for some people that could be a good thing. For others, maybe that's what they'd really want to see. But if we saw Humboldt squid, as we did in the past, we would not dive with them.
Perfect. Someone was asking about the difference in the 2 boats. First of all, how many passengers per boat, and the difference between the 2 boats.
Perfect. I'm going to get there in about 2 minutes.
We'll let you be.
Thank you. Okay. So I just wanted to highlight real quick because now we're about to start our Explore Baja trips. And these are one-way trips in the Sea of Cortez. And we explore over 700 miles. So we'll start in Puerto Penasco and continue all the way down. And after 13 days, we'll end in San Jose del Cabo or the reverse. And these trips include everything that we talked about in the Midriff Island trips, but you'll also have an opportunity to do a night dive with mobile arrays. And as we go south, the water becomes even clearer and warmer. And we dive a couple of wrecks. Sometimes we even are starting to see the giant manta rays again and some schooling hammerheads. So we actually have a trip coming up right now. If anybody's got time, we've got some space on Rocio del Mar, and other than this, we're sold out on Rocio del Mar actually until 2023, but we have a trip leaving this Saturday, an Explore Baja trip that will start in Puerto Penasco, fly to Phoenix, and you start in Puerto Penasco, and 13 days later, you disembark in San Jose del Cabo. But what I'd like to do now is highlight Rocio, the difference between the two boats, because we designed and built Rocio del Mar in 2008. Rocio is 110 feet long. She takes 20 divers, has 10 private cabins, each with an ensuite bathroom. It has a large dining room, a large salon with overstuffed furniture, an outside patio area, and it's extremely comfortable. We have 6 rooms with 2 oversized twin bunks in each one, and then we have 2 new rooms that we just redid in the month of June. Our 2 bedrooms with large queen beds and huge big showers. And then we have 2 other rooms on the upper deck with a double bed and a single bunk. So that's Rocio del Mar. Then Quino Gaurdian, we brought on Quino about 3 years ago. And Quino's a little bit more casual in that we take 16 divers on this trip. And it has 4 quad cabins, 4 rooms with 4 bunks, and we also have 1 cabin with 2 bunks. There are 4 community bathrooms, and we assign the rooms and the bathrooms by gender and to each room, so that way guests can leave their personal items inside. But it too has a large dining area, nice shaded sun deck, salon, TV, computer, all that fun stuff. And both boats have large camera tables. We know a lot of people come on board and want to take photos. We all love our critters. And so both boats have large camera tables. And we're very accustomed to taking care of photographers. Now, one thing I do want to point out, no matter which boat you choose, you are going to get some of the best food you've had on a liveaboard dive boat. Every meal is plated. You'll wake up in the morning. If you're an early riser, you'll have a continental breakfast, breads, fruit, yogurts, all of that. Go off and do a dive, come back, and you have a hot breakfast served to you. How do you want your eggs, all that, and it's all plated and served to you. Then you rest a little bit, go do another dive, come back, and you'll have a hot lunch served to you, started with a homemade hot soup. So, and I'll tell you, this entree right here, that's for lunch. I just want to tell you that. I mean, it was amazing. Bacon wrapped shrimp for lunch. And then you'll go rest another bit, and then you'll come back and you'll do another dive, and then you'll come back and you'll be served a wonderful snack. Rest a little bit more, and if you're doing 4 dives a day, you'll do your next dive and come back and wash up. And then we have a beautiful 3-course dinner, salad, entree, and homemade dessert. So both boats offer the same food, and they also offer, the other thing we're so best known for is our amazing crew. And the crew go back and forth between both boats. Because of the sleeping accommodations of being more casual on Quino, it's substantially lower. So if you're looking to save some money and you just want to be on a great boat with great crew, and it's actually a really fun boat to go on too if you're diving by yourself, because you really get to know everybody that way. But both boats have really, what's made us famous is our food and our crew. I also want to point out that on Quino, because of the way it's set up, we do some special trips on this boat. We have citizen science. We'll have a scientist on board who's doing research on sharks, and they'll do presentations and involve the divers in their research. We've got a trip coming up in November, in which we have Dr. Denny Ramirez, and she is going to be performing ultrasounds on pregnant manta rays and whale sharks, and you can participate in that research. And then we also have one coming up in April on dolphins. They do a lot with dolphins research, and you can help with identifying the different dolphins. And then we also have family trips. You mentioned that you have, somebody was asking about age. We have a trip that goes to the Sea of Cortez every summer that's just for families. And the quad cabins work out great because you put one family in one cabin. We'll also do photography and naturalist workshops. And we have our annual all ladies trip, in which a percentage of the trip goes for breast cancer research. And that was a blast. That's me having a good time. So did I answer pretty much the questions on the different types of boats?
Yeah, absolutely. That was great.
Okay, cool. Then I just want to highlight, this is Dora Sierra Sandoval, and she's the owner of the boats. And she just started something, a group called Heroes Del Mar, because Mexico is our lifeblood. Without the ocean and without the people from there, we wouldn't have a business. And we also want to look at how do we pay it forward and get young people involved in loving the sea as much as we do. And it has to come from the grassroots level and involving the local communities. And so Dora has started this program called Heroes Del Mar, and it involves some children from some very small Mexican villages. And what I'd like to do right now is show a quick video, because this is going to explain it way better than I ever could.
The program Héroes del Mar is about kids, teaching them how to take advantage of their resources. We want to see the kids take ownership of what's theirs. But in order for them to do this, they need to have the tools. And that's what we're here for. We're here to teach them, to educate them so that they can be the best that they can be, to empower them. That's our mission. The villages that we chose are in very remote areas. A lot of these kids never have been away from home. They've never been out of these villages. We need to expose them to what's out there so that they can appreciate what they have. The areas they live in are incredible. The islands that they have, what's in their front yard. And unfortunately, sometimes they don't see it, they don't recognize it. And you have people that come from other places and they see all the opportunities and they buy the property from the fishermen at a very low price, and they are able to exploit them and develop them. We want to equip these children so that they can make good decisions. We take the kids out to sea for 8 days and we immerse them. It's an intense program. We've gone hiking, they've kayaked, they've snorkeled. We've been able to go to mangroves. We've been able to do some bird watching. We've brought a scientist on board who is able to work with them. They relate to this person and they're able to identify. So these kids who have never in their life thought of being scientists work side by side with the scientist and think, this is something that I can do. We also brought aboard an economist, and he has brought to them the possibilities of being an entrepreneur. They've sat down and they've done flyers and they've done presentations where they've taken ownership of the places that they're from as though they are developing a business in their home. Also, we've talked to them about tourism. We've talked about sustainability and fishing reserves. So if they're going to be fishermen, that they be fishermen with good fishing practices. The experience has to be intense. There's no other way to show them all the possibilities of the Sea of Cortez if we don't immerse them in this life-altering experience. And they need to have this experience so that they can turn the chip, which was one of the primary reasons that we decided that it needed to be done on a liveaboard.
Como trabajamos en el barco, cada quien emprendió lo que le gustaría hacer. Y a mí me gustaría construir un restaurante donde puedan llegar muchos turistas, porque hoy me quedé emocionado y con esas ganas de llegar a Liveaboards y contar lo que hicimos, lo que viví realmente estos 7 días. Me di cuenta que el programa Héroes del Mar te está abriendo las puertas a ti para tu futuro.
Te hace despertar de la importancia de todo lo que hay a nuestro alrededor, de todo lo que tenemos.
No solo están enseñando a jóvenes, sino que están enseñando a próximos empresarios o dive master o geólogos, conocimientos que nunca en una escuela te van a enseñar si no lo vives.
A mí este viaje me ayudó a ver todo lo bonito que había en mi comunidad. También la verdad yo lo había visto, pero no lo había visto de esta forma como ahora lo ve.
They've been so busy, and I feel that each and every one of them is eager to return in the next 2 years. This is a 3-year program with the intentions of having them be in a mentorship program by the 3rd year, where they can help the next generations to follow. For conservation to be successful in Mexico, it's imperative for the communities to be involved. The community has to benefit. We want to help the kids by giving them tools and guidance so they can develop these communities. Because at the end of the day, if they can live from their natural resources, they become the guardians.
Bravo. That's fantastic, Susan. I love that.
Bravo.
So there we go. So does anybody have any more questions? Anything at all, really?
I have been getting nothing but love Heroes Del Mar. It's great. Everyone's really excited to see that. Thank you so much for sharing that part of it. It's great to see that. I've also had many people who have had the opportunity to be on the boat, and everyone, I've just gotten so many fantastic comments. I wish I could share this with you all because it's so amazing. And I actually had the pleasure of taking a group on Rocio Del Mar a few years ago, and we were one of the lucky groups that spent time with humpback whales and the babies. So that was truly dives that I will never forget and I will always cherish. It was fantastic. So one last thing I have for you, Susan, is someone has asked, can you share the info to donate to Heroes Del Mar one more time?
Yes. The best way to do that would be to go to heroesdelmar.org. So so that's Heroes Del Mar, just like it sounds, Heroes Del DELMAR.org.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right.
Hey, I just want to highlight too that actually this past December, right around all of the kids got certified in diving.
Oh, that's terrific.
After their experience on the boat, Dora asked, who wants to be a dive master? And they all learned to dive and they all raised their hand. And Patty donated the certifications, and Dan donated the insurance, and the crew donated their time and getting everybody certified. So super
really
excited
amazing.
about it.
Thank you so much. That was great to see that and see what Dora and you guys are all doing. It's fantastic. All right, so at this point, we just want to thank Susan once again for being here. I want to thank all of you guys for being here. And I want to encourage all of you to go to Mexico Liveaboards.
You can go to Mexico. It's probably the easiest. You could go to MexicoLiveaboards.com, and then it breaks it up into the 2 boats. That Perfect. Probably might be easiest for you. We're going to design a whole beautiful new website with both boats on it very soon. We're working on it now.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Susan. We really appreciate it.